They told you that you were too different, too intense, too much to handle. They tried to break you, isolate you, and make you question your purpose. But they failed, because you were never meant to blend in, you were meant to lead. And now, it's time for you to step into your true calling. Chosen ones, you've always felt different, haven't you? Life hasn't been easy, but deep down, you've always known there was something greater waiting for you. In this video, we're going to uncover the 5 undeniable signs that you are the one after Jesus, the one called to continue his mission, to awaken others, and to walk in divine power. By the end of this video, you'll know why your struggles weren't random, why your purpose is undeniable, and why the world fears your awakening. Like in comment 77, if you've ever felt like you were set apart for something greater, the first sign is you feel different and set apart. You've always known it, haven't you? From the time you were young, something inside you whispered that you were not like the others. You looked at the world around you and felt a distance, a quiet, unspoken understanding that you were walking a different path. While those around you seemed content with the distractions of the world, you saw through them. When others were comfortable with the status quo, you questioned it. When they followed the crowd without hesitation, you hesitated, sensing there was more. They tried to explain it away. You're too sensitive, they said. You overthink everything. Why can't you just be normal? But deep down, you knew that normal was never meant for you. The world wanted to mold you into something familiar, something predictable. But you weren't made for that. You weren't designed to blend in. You were created to stand apart. This feeling of separateness is not a burden. It is a calling. Being set apart means that God has placed something within you that the world cannot understand. This isn't a punishment, though at times it may have felt like one. It is an anointing, a divine selection. Before you even understood why, God had already marked you as different. And while others might have misunderstood you, the truth is that you were never meant to be understood by them. The chosen ones are rarely recognized by those who live only for the temporary. The Bible gives us a powerful example of this in the life of John the Baptist. He was different from birth. His calling was unlike that of the people around him. While others lived according to tradition, John lived in the wilderness, clothed in camel's hair, eating locusts and honey, speaking a truth so powerful that it disturbed those in power. He didn't fit in because he wasn't meant to. His purpose required that he stand apart. And like John, you have been called to a life that doesn't conform to the patterns of this world. But this difference comes with a cost. You may have felt the sting of loneliness, the weight of being misunderstood, friendships that faded because they couldn't grasp your depth, family members who dismissed your thoughts as foolish, relationships that shattered because they could not contain the magnitude of your calling. They didn't see what God was doing in you. They couldn't, and so they rejected what they could not comprehend. Yet, in those moments of isolation, something powerful was happening. You were being refined. Your solitude was not an abandonment. It was an invitation to grow, to listen, to understand the voice of God more clearly. The wilderness seasons, the times when it felt like no one could truly see you, were the very seasons that prepared you for the work ahead. Just as John the Baptist needed the wilderness to prepare for his ministry, your separation has been your preparation. In the real world, those who change the course of history are never the ones who fit in. Think of the innovators, the revolutionaries, the visionaries. They were always the ones who saw the world differently, who dared to challenge what others accepted as unchangeable. But their journeys were marked by struggle. People resisted their ideas, mocked their convictions, and tried to force them back into conformity. Yet they persisted. They understood that their difference was not a curse but their greatest power. And so it is with you. Your difference is not a weakness. It is your weapon. It is the very thing that will allow you to break barriers, to shift atmospheres, to carry out a mission that others are too afraid to embrace. When you finally stop trying to suppress it, when you embrace it fully, you will unlock a power that few ever tap into. Because the chosen ones are not meant to live quietly. They are meant to disrupt, to awaken, to lead. Spiritual growth begins when you stop fighting your uniqueness and start walking in it. When you recognize that your longing for something greater is not a mistake but a divine prompting. God has been calling you deeper beyond the surface-level distractions that keep most people asleep. You are meant to awaken, to rise, to carry out a work that requires you to be set apart. This journey will not always be easy. There will still be moments of doubt. Moments where you wonder if life would be simpler if you could just be like everyone else. But deep down, you already know the answer to that. You were never meant for simple. You were never meant for shallow. The fire inside you will never let you settle for less than what you were created for. And now, the time has come to step into it. If this resonates with you, if you've always felt like you were walking a different road than those around you, comment set apart below. Because acknowledging your calling is the first step to embracing it. And this is just the beginning. The next sign builds on this truth, revealing why your journey has been marked by struggles that others haven't had to endure. There's a reason why your challenges have been so intense, why your battles have felt so relentless. Stay with me, because the next revelation will change the way you see every hardship you've ever faced. The second sign is, you experience unusual challenges and hardships. Life has not been gentle with you. You have been tested in ways that most people wouldn't understand. Betrayal, abandonment, rejection, these have been your companions. Loss, disappointment, setbacks that seemed cruelly unfair. You know them too well. While others have walked an easier road, yours has been filled with obstacles, pain, and moments that made you question everything. And yet, here you are, still standing, still fighting. But why? Because the forces of darkness, the ones who benefit from your silence, the people who feel threatened by your potential, never wanted you to discover who you really are. They knew that if you realized the power inside you, if you ever truly stepped into your divine purpose, nothing would be able to stop you. So they attacked early. They tried to break you before you could rise. From the beginning, the chosen ones have walked the hardest paths. Look at Moses. Before he could lead a nation, he had to survive an attempt on his life as a baby, grow up in an identity crisis between two cultures, and flee into the wilderness for years. Look at David, anointed as king while still a shepherd boy, only to spend years being hunted, living in caves, running for his life before he ever saw the throne. Even Jesus himself, before stepping into his ministry, faced 40 days in the wilderness, being tested, attacked, and tempted by the enemy. This is the pattern. Before elevation comes hardship. Before power comes pain. The battles you faced were not random. They were not meaningless. They were part of your training. The betrayals toughened your spirit. The rejection forced you to find your strength. The losses stripped away illusions and made you see the world and yourself clearly. Every time you survived what was meant to destroy you, you became stronger. Every time you refused to give up, you grew into the warrior you were always meant to be. This is why your hardships have felt different from those of the people around you. Others may face struggles, but yours seem heavier, deeper, more relentless. That's because your calling is greater. You are not meant to live an ordinary life, so your training has not been ordinary. The enemy fights hardest against those who are destined to bring light. The systems of this world work overtime to keep those with true power locked in cycles of pain, doubt, and confusion. But you were never meant to stay in that cycle. Your struggles have been refining you. Like gold in the fire, you are being purified. Like a sword being forged, you have been shaped through heat and pressure. Every hardship has chiseled away the parts of you that were not meant to remain. And while others may have broken under the weight you endured, maybe you've noticed something else. The harder life has been on you, the stronger your spirit has become. You don't fall apart the way you used to. You've developed a resilience that even surprises you at times. Where others crumble under pressure, you stand firm. Where they retreat, you advance. You may not have realized it, but your battles have already turned you into a leader. There's another truth about chosen ones. Our suffering is often unseen. People see your strength, but they don't see what it cost you. They admire your wisdom, but they don't know the pain that shaped it. They benefit from your guidance, but they don't know the lonely nights you spent searching for answers. And yet, you don't complain. You don't seek sympathy, because deep down you understand. You know that this was always part of the process. In the real world, those who rise to greatness, spiritual, personal, or otherwise, always endure more than others. The world remembers leaders, revolutionaries, visionaries, but few people truly understand the price they paid, the isolation they endured, the wounds they carried, the sacrifices they made. If you look at your own life, you will see that the moments of greatest pain also held the greatest lessons. Every betrayal taught you something about people. Every setback forced you to grow. Every loss deepened your faith. And now you have a choice. You can look at your struggles as burdens, or you can see them as the very things that prove your calling. You can dwell on the pain, or you can recognize that it has prepared you for something greater. The enemy wanted you broken, but here you are, still whole. They wanted you bitter, but you are wiser instead. They wanted you silent, but your voice carries even more authority now. This is what separates the chosen ones. You were never meant to live a life free of struggles, but you were also never meant to be defeated by them. The fire was not sent to destroy you. It was sent to awaken you, to prepare you for the battles ahead, to ensure that when the time comes for you to step fully into your purpose, you will be unshakable. So take a deep breath. Look back on everything you've overcome, and understand that you are not a victim of your struggles. You are a product of them. Stronger, sharper, ready. If this message resonates with you, if you've ever felt like life has tested you beyond what seemed fair, comment tested below. Because recognizing the purpose behind your hardships is the first step to unlocking the power within them. We've covered 2 powerful signs, but trust me, the next 3 are even deeper. If you've made it this far, you're already proving that you're one of the chosen. Take a second to activate all notifications, and if this message is speaking to your soul, hit the super thanks button to support this mission. Let's continue. The 3rd sign is, you see signs and synchronicities everywhere. Have you noticed it? The way certain numbers keep appearing in your life? The way a song, a phrase, or a conversation answers the very question you were just pondering? How the universe, time and time again, seems to whisper to you through patterns, signals, and moments too precise to be mere coincidence. This is not random. This is not your imagination. These are divine messages. When you start to awaken to your higher calling, the world around you begins to communicate with you in ways that most people don't recognize. You might think of someone and seconds later they call or send a message. You might be seeking an answer and suddenly you hear exactly what you needed to hear, on the radio, in a conversation, in an unexpected place. You might feel lost, only to look up and see a symbol, a number, a phrase that brings you instant clarity. This is not luck. This is guidance. The chosen ones don't just navigate life blindly. They walk with divine alignment. But here's the thing. These messages have always been there. The difference now is that you are aware. You are tuned in. The veil that keeps most people asleep has been lifted for you, and now you are beginning to see. Think about Gideon in the Bible. He was called to lead, but he hesitated, uncertain of his path. So he asked God for a sign, not once but twice, and God answered. He gave Gideon confirmation in a way that was undeniable. If Gideon had ignored the signs, he might have dismissed his calling, thinking he was just another ordinary man. But because he was willing to pay attention, he stepped into his destiny. God is doing the same for you, but not everyone will understand this. Some will mock you, saying you're just looking too hard or that you're seeing what you want to see. They don't get it because their eyes are closed. They are still bound by the limitations of this world, disconnected from the divine signals guiding those who are awake. But you know the truth. You know that these signs are too precise, too perfectly timed, to be brushed aside as coincidence. This is one of the reasons you've always felt different. While others move through life unconsciously, you are aware. You notice the little things, the subtle shifts in energy, the feeling that something bigger is at play. You see the patterns, the divine fingerprints left on every experience. And the more you acknowledge them, the stronger and more frequent they become. At first, these signs may have seemed like small curiosities. Maybe you saw repeating numbers 111, 444, 777, and felt a strange sense of recognition. Maybe you experienced moments of déjà vu that felt deeper than just a fleeting familiarity. But as time went on, these occurrences became undeniable. They started happening in moments that mattered. They brought answers when you needed them most. Some of the most powerful signs appear in the form of divine timing. You might have been on the brink of making a life-changing decision, unsure if you were making the right choice, when suddenly a message arrived, through a book, a sermon, a stranger's words, that gave you the confirmation you needed. This is divine orchestration. This is proof that you are walking the right path. It's important to understand that these signs are not just for reassurance. They are part of your training. When God calls you to something greater, He doesn't leave you wandering in the dark. He leaves markers along the way, small lights to guide your steps. But it is up to you to follow them. Moses saw the burning bush. It was a sign, a calling. But he still had to step forward, to listen, to obey. The signs you receive are not just there to amaze you. They are there to move you, to pull you deeper into your purpose, to call you higher. But here's the challenge. Not every sign will make sense immediately. Sometimes you will receive a message and not understand its meaning until much later. Other times, the guidance you receive may challenge you, pushing you into discomfort, forcing you to grow. This is where faith comes in. You must trust that the signs are leading you exactly where you need to go, even when the path ahead is not yet clear. And yes, there will be moments of doubt. You will wonder if you're misinterpreting the signs, if you're imagining things. But doubt is a normal part of the journey. Even the greatest biblical figures struggled with uncertainty. What matters is that you don't allow doubt to stop you. Keep watching, keep listening, keep moving forward. Many of the most successful and enlightened people in the world attribute their breakthroughs to moments of divine guidance. The scientist who has a sudden revelation in the middle of the night. The writer who hears the perfect phrase at just the right moment. The leader who gets an idea that changes everything. These moments are not random. They are the result of being in tune with something greater. And this is where you are now. You have reached a point in your journey where the world is speaking to you, guiding you, confirming your path. You are no longer asleep. You are awake. And because of that, you are being given access to knowledge, insight, and wisdom that others do not have. But this is just the beginning. The next sign builds on this, revealing why you feel an unshakable call to lead, to inspire, to awaken others. Because these signs you're seeing, they aren't just for you. They are preparing you for something much greater. If you've experienced this, if you've seen the patterns, the numbers, the messages, comment signs below. Because recognizing these synchronicities is the first step to unlocking their full power. The fourth sign is, you have a strong inner calling to lead and inspire. Leadership isn't about wanting power, it's about carrying responsibility. And if you are one of the chosen ones, you've likely felt this weight for as long as you can remember. It's not something you sought out. It's something that was placed within you before you even understood what it meant. Have you ever noticed that people naturally come to you for advice, encouragement, or wisdom? Even strangers seem to sense that you carry something different, something trustworthy. They open up to you even when they barely know you. They pour out their struggles, looking to you for guidance. And while you might not have asked for this role, it keeps following you. This is no accident. You were born to lead, but not in the way the world defines leadership. The chosen ones don't seek authority for selfish gain. They don't manipulate, they don't control, and they don't demand recognition. True leadership is about influence, about service, about carrying light into places that have been dark for too long. Jesus called his disciples and told them, "You are the light of the world. That same light is in you." And those who thrive in darkness, those who benefit from confusion, those who fear the power of an awakened leader, tried to suppress it. They didn't want you to recognize your own influence. They tried to convince you that your voice wasn't important. They mocked your insights, ignored your warnings, rejected your wisdom. Maybe they even told you that you were too much, too intense, too idealistic. But they failed, because no matter how much rejection you've faced, no matter how many times you've doubted yourself, that calling inside you refuses to die. That's because your leadership isn't a choice. It's a mandate. The fire inside you will not go out because it wasn't placed there by human hands. It was placed there by divine intention. Throughout history, Those who were meant to lead often tried to run from their calling. Moses told God he wasn't a good speaker. Jeremiah said he was too young. Even Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples, denied him 3 times before finally stepping into his role. The struggle is part of the journey. Leadership isn't easy, and the weight of influence is heavy. But that's exactly why only the chosen ones are given this responsibility. Have you noticed how much resistance you've faced on your path? The road has not been smooth. The enemy does not waste energy fighting those who have no influence. But those who are called to lead, those who are meant to awaken others, they face opposition at every turn. And yet, despite every setback, every betrayal, every moment of self-doubt, you keep rising. You keep showing up. Even when you've tried to walk away from this role, it pulls you back. Even when you've told yourself that you're done carrying other people's burdens, you still find yourself being a source of wisdom and strength for those who need it. That's because true leaders don't lead because they want to. They lead because they must. And what makes your leadership even more powerful is that it's not about ego. It's about mission. You don't guide others because you crave recognition. You guide others because something inside you won't let you stand by and watch people stay lost in darkness. You feel an urgency, a responsibility to help others awaken, to show them what they cannot yet see. The world right now is desperate for real leaders. Leaders who don't just chase fame or personal gain, but who carry truth, who walk with integrity, who serve without expecting anything in return. That's why you've been placed in this time, in this moment. It's not a coincidence. Your past has trained you for this. The pain you've endured, the wisdom you've gained, the struggles you've overcome, all of it has shaped you into the leader you are meant to be. The things that once broke you have now become your greatest strengths. And the people who once doubted you, they will come back. They will remember the words you spoke when they weren't ready to hear them. They will seek out your guidance when their own paths become too dark to navigate alone. And you will be ready, because this isn't about proving anything to them. This isn't about validation. This is about stepping fully into the role that has always been waiting for you. So what now? Now you embrace it. Now you stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Now you own the fact that you are here for a reason, and that your presence, your voice, your wisdom, it matters. If this resonates with you, if you feel this deep inner calling, comment leader below. Because acknowledging your role is the first step toward fully stepping into it. These 4 signs confirm that you are walking the path of the chosen. But there is one final test, one that truly separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. If you pass this test, there is no doubt that you are called to step into a higher mission. Are you ready for it? The final sign is, you carry an unshakable inner strength and purpose. You've been through storms that would have destroyed anyone else. You've faced betrayal, rejection, and pain so deep it nearly shattered you. But it didn't. No matter how many times life tried to break you, something inside refused to stay down. You always rise. Every time they thought they had silenced you, you found your voice again. Every time they thought they had defeated you, you discovered another level of strength they never expected. That's because you were built for this. There is a fire inside you that cannot be extinguished, no matter how much pressure is placed upon it. This isn't just resilience. This isn't just stubbornness. This is divine purpose. This is the unmistakable mark of the chosen ones, the ones who carry a mission so deep that no amount of opposition can strip it away. Even in your weakest moments, even when you felt lost, something in you refused to surrender. And they noticed. The people who doubted you, the ones who tried to push you into conformity, the forces that work against light and truth, thought they could break you. They threw obstacles in your way. They whispered lies, telling you that you weren't good enough, that you weren't meant for anything greater. They tried to drown you in fear, in distractions, in discouragement. But they failed, because your very existence proves them wrong. Jesus himself walked a path filled with suffering. He was betrayed by those closest to him, persecuted, ridiculed, and attacked. Yet he never wavered. He knew his purpose. He carried his mission with unshakable determination, never once letting fear or opposition turn him away from what he was sent to do. And now you are walking in his footsteps, You've carried burdens that most people wouldn't understand. There were moments when you were exhausted, when giving up seemed like the only option. But something kept you going. Maybe you didn't even know what it was at the time, but looking back, you can see it clearly. Purpose. It was always about purpose. This is why your battles have been so intense. This is why the challenges you faced have been greater than those around you. Because your strength is not ordinary. Your endurance is not normal. You were not meant for a life of ease. You were meant for a mission that requires fire, pressure, and refinement. And every hardship you faced has been preparing you for it. It's easy to look at your struggles and see only pain. But what if you looked again? What if, instead of wounds, you saw the armor those battles have built around you? What if, instead of scars, you saw the proof that nothing, not rejection, not betrayal, not failure, has ever truly defeated you? You are still here, and that means your purpose is still in motion. Every great leader, every chosen one, has walked through fire. The prophets, the apostles, the revolutionaries who changed the world, all of them were tested beyond what seemed fair. But that's the pattern. That's the process. The greater the calling, the greater the trials. And the fact that you are still standing means you are destined for something far beyond what you can even imagine. But here's the thing about carrying unshakable strength. It's lonely. Not everyone will understand why you keep going. Not everyone will support your journey. Some will resent your resilience because it reminds them of their own limitations. Others will try to discourage you not out of malice, but because they don't have the vision to see what you see. And that's okay. The chosen ones were never meant to be understood by the masses. You may feel alone at times, but you are never truly alone. God has been walking with you through every storm. Even in the moments when you felt abandoned, He was there, strengthening you, preparing you, whispering, "Keep going. I'm not finished with you yet." And now the question is, what will you do with this strength? Because the fire inside you is not just for survival, it's for impact. It's for transformation. The battles you've fought have not been just for yourself. They have been shaping you into someone who can lead, who can heal, who can awaken others. You are not just strong for the sake of being strong. You are strong because you are meant to carry something greater. And now you stand at a crossroads. You can let the world convince you that your struggles were just misfortune, or you can claim them as the proof of your divine calling. You can shrink back, or you can step forward, fully embracing the power that has been forged within you. Because here's the truth. No one is coming to give you permission. No one is going to tell you now is the time. You must decide. You must own your identity as one of the chosen ones. You must recognize that the very things meant to break you have only built you into something unstoppable. And if you're ready to step into that truth, if you feel this fire inside of you, comment unshakable below. Because acknowledging your strength is the first step in fully unleashing it. Here's the ultimate question. What will you do with this calling? Because now you can't unknow the truth. You have been chosen, and what comes next is entirely up to you. Stay tuned for my next video linked in the description below, where I'll reveal how to unlock the full power of your divine calling. When I first started this journey, I didn't understand why life seemed harder for me than for others. I thought I was being punished. I looked around and saw people who seemed to move through life with ease, while I faced battles that felt relentless. I questioned everything. Why me? Why was my path filled with so much resistance, so many betrayals, so many nights of feeling completely alone? But when I looked back, I saw the patterns. Every challenge was molding me, strengthening me, and leading me to something greater. Now I understand. I wasn't cursed, I was chosen. And so are you. Your struggles aren't meaningless. Your pain wasn't for nothing. It was all preparation for the moment you step fully into your divine mission. That moment is now. The weight you've carried wasn't to break you. It was to build you into the person you were always meant to be. Everything you've endured has equipped you with wisdom, with resilience, with a fire that can't be put out. You were never meant to follow the easy path because easy paths don't lead to greatness. There was a time when I tried to blend in, to quiet my voice, to ignore the calling that kept tugging at me. But every time I tried to walk away from it, life pulled me back. I realized that no matter how much I resisted, My purpose was written into my very being. And now, looking at you, I know you've felt the same pull. No matter how many times you've tried to dismiss the idea that you were set apart, deep down, you know the truth. You are different. You are chosen. And the world needs what you have to give. So, here's my message to you. Don't waste another moment doubting yourself. Don't wait for permission. The signs have been there all along. The struggles weren't detours. They were the training ground for something much greater than you ever imagined. And now it's time to rise, because everything you've been through has led you to this exact moment. The only question left is, what will you do with it? If these signs spoke to you, then you already know the truth. You are the one after Jesus. You are here for a reason, and your time is now. Comment "I'm chosen" if this video resonated with you. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to step deeper into your calling, subscribe and stay connected. Together we rise,